I need you to understand something before we go any further. February 9 was never just a date to us. When I was deep inside witchcraft, this day was marked, watched, prepared for. Not because of rituals you see in movies, but because of words. Spoken words, declared words, legal words. In the occult world, words are not emotional expressions. They are contracts. And certain words, spoken by the wrong person or the right one, could undo months of work in seconds. I wasn't born into witchcraft. I was trained into it. And one of the earliest lessons drilled into me was this: demons don't fear shouting, they don't fear tears, and they don't fear religious noise. They fear authority that knows how to speak, especially on assigned dates. February 9 is a date where spiritual permissions are either renewed or revoked. And most Christians have no idea they're being watched on this day, not because they're weak, but because they're valuable. I saw believers prayed against on February 9 simply because they were close to breakthrough and didn't even know it. If you felt unusual pressure, distraction, or heaviness as this date approaches, or every year around this time, this message found you on purpose. What I'm about to share are 3 words we were trained to silence at all costs. 3 words that, when spoken correctly, immediately collapse witchcraft operations. And before you dismiss this as superstition, understand this: witches never fear people who pray emotionally. They fear people who speak legally. In the occult, dates matter because permissions expire. February 9 is considered a transition window. It's when spiritual assignments are either carried forward or lose their legal ground. That's why attacks spike, confusion increases, and strange resistance shows up for no logical reason. We used February 9 to check which believers were still unaware of their authority. The ones who stayed silent, fearful, or passive became easy targets. But the few, very few, who spoke correctly caused chaos in the spirit realm. Here's what most Christians don't realize: demons operate by permission, not power. They don't need your belief, they need your silence. And February 9 exposes who understands that. One of the greatest lies I helped spread was this: just pray harder. That lie keeps people exhausted but ineffective. Prayer without authority becomes noise. Authority without words becomes unused power. We were taught to exploit believers who begged instead of declared. Begging signals uncertainty. Declaring signals jurisdiction. And on February 9, uncertainty is punished in the spirit realm, but authority is honored. This is the word covens hate the most. I revoke, not I ask, not I hope, not please God, I revoke. When a believer says, I revoke every permission given knowingly or unknowingly, something immediate happens. Contracts lose validity. Monitoring spirits disengage. Assignments begin collapsing. We were trained to stop believers from ever using this word. Because revocation doesn't require emotion, it requires position. And if you belong to Christ, you already have the position. On February 9, saying, I revoke, is like pulling a master key out of a locked door demons have been hiding behind. Cancellation is different from revocation. Revocation removes permission. Cancellation destroys agreements already in motion. When you say, I cancel every word, ritual, curse, or agreement spoken against my life, you're not fighting demons, you're removing their paperwork. I watch strong rituals fail instantly because a believer whispered this word with authority. No shouting, no drama, just truth. Witchcraft cannot survive without agreement. Cancellation destroys agreement. This is the word that seals everything. I stand. Not I feel. Not I hope. Not I try. I stand in the authority of Jesus Christ. Standing is legal positioning. In the spirit realm, posture matters. Standing means you are no longer negotiable. When this word is spoken, demons know there will be no further discussion. Thoughts don't enforce law. Words do. We never feared silent believers. We feared vocal ones who understood timing. February 9 is about alignment. When you speak these words aloud, you activate your authority in a realm that only responds to sound. That's why witchcraft uses chants. That's why curses are spoken. And that's why your declarations matter more than your emotions. Don't rush. Don't shout. Don't panic. Simply say, I revoke every permission given knowingly or unknowingly. I cancel every curse, ritual, and agreement spoken against my life. I stand in the authority of Jesus Christ alone. Say it once. Say it clearly. Say it without fear. That's enough. Don't rush. Don't shout. Don't panic. Simply say, I revoke every permission given knowingly or unknowingly. I cancel every curse, ritual, and agreement spoken against my life. I stand in the authority of Jesus Christ alone. Say it once. Say it clearly. Say it without fear. That's enough. Don't expect fireworks. Expect clarity. Expect peace. Expect sudden release from pressure you couldn't explain before. Witchcraft doesn't always leave loudly. Sometimes it leaves quietly when it realizes it has no legal right to stay. Those who benefit from your silence will always mock your authority. Even religious people mocked Jesus when he spoke with authority. Mockery is often proof you're touching something real. February 9 is not about fear. It's about awareness. You don't need to fight harder. You need to speak correctly. If this message stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Speak the words. Reclaim your authority. And understand this: witchcraft never had power over you. It only had permission. And tonight, that permission ends no. Listen carefully, because this is where many people undo what they just enforced. After you speak those words, don't go hunting for feelings. Authority is not proven by emotion, it's proven by peace and consistency. The moment you revoke, cancel, and stand, the door is legally shut. Your next assignment is simple. Don't reopen it with fear, doubt, or careless speech. In the occult, we waited to see who would start questioning, who would panic, who would say, "Nothing happened." That's how access was restored. Silence, steadiness, and alignment keep the seal intact. Speak life over your home. Guard your mouth. Choose rest over worry. If pressure tries to return, don't argue. Repeat the same words calmly. Repetition is not weakness. It's reinforcement. Before you leave this video, take a moment and thank God. Not because you feel something, but because the work is done. If this message helped you, share it. There are people who need this warning before February 9 passes. And if you want continued guidance, stay connected to the restoration path. You are not late. You are not behind. You are standing. Here's something most people are never told. When darkness loses permission, it rarely leaves loudly. It leaves quietly, and that silence can confuse those who expected drama. No nightmares, no sudden signs, just a strange stillness. That stillness is not emptiness, it's authority settling in. It's the sound of something no longer allowed to argue its case. In my past life, we called this phase containment. When access was revoked cleanly, there was nothing left to do but withdraw and wait for the person to slip back into old habits. That's why this final stage matters so much. Your consistency now determines whether this remains a victory or becomes a cycle. Darkness does not need new doors if you reopen old ones yourself. Pay attention over the next days. You may notice clearer thoughts, calmer sleep, fewer intrusive impulses, or a sudden urge to clean, organize, or pray more intentionally. That's not coincidence. When pressure lifts, clarity returns. Don't rush to explain it away. Receive it with gratitude and stay aligned. And hear me clearly. This is not about becoming paranoid. It's about becoming grounded. You don't need to chase demons, analyze every feeling, or live on edge. The safest posture is peace. Walk normally. Live faithfully. Do what you would do if you trusted that God truly heard you, because He did. If this message reached you at the exact right time, that's not an accident either. Share it with someone who needs it before fear convinces them they're powerless. You are not powerless. You are not exposed. And you are not alone. This is where the story changes, not because the battle got louder, but because you stopped giving it permission to speak at all.